apply to when I'm running? Like, do I
They
need to wear
said
a face
no.
mask?
They said no.
See, but I don't get that. Then what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah. They said as if you're biking, if you're running, if you're surfing, like you don't need a mask. But if you're just walking and within 6 feet of someone that's not in your household, then you have to have a mask on.
Weird. I wonder how they're gonna enforce that.
I haven't like run with the mask on. How is that?
I've seen people doing that.
It sounds terrible.
Have you tried it?
No, I haven't tried it myself just because I don't know. I think it looks interesting. I like wouldn't do it personally, but I'd imagine that they have trouble breathing or something.
Yeah, like I don't know. I've seen a couple of people like do it, but then I feel like myself, I wouldn't enjoy running at that point. It would be painful.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Alex is here.
Yay!
Right on
Hey,
time.
Hi, Alex.
Oh my
Just
god.
started.
Hi.
We just started, yeah.
Wow.
Well, someone want to go into the introduction? For those of you who are new and listening to this podcast for the very first time, we're Exercise is Medicine, and we're an organization at UCSD. We're all about raising awareness about exercise and activity as a means of maintaining and improving health, as well as preventing disease. And we also promote professional interest and development with a focus on the various careers of sports and exercise medicine. And welcome to the fourth podcast.
Yeah, fourth. Today we wanted to jump on here and just chat about like exercise, eating, everyday health, wellness practices that we've been trying out since quarantine. Really, shook up our lives, and we just wanted to share some of that with you. Hopefully you'll learn something. Maybe you'll learn like a cool tip or something.
Yeah, and then just an important note before kicking off this podcast, we just want to say that none of us are, licensed medical professionals or fitness professionals, and that the info that we talk about today is just solely our opinion. And we do hope that it, does provide some education for you, our listeners, and we just don't want any information that we say today to be misconstrued as medical advice.
Yeah, because while none of us are medical and fitness professionals, we are students, right? So we're going through this just like everyone else, and hopefully you get some insight into how we're trying to cope, and maybe you can take some of that advice home with you.
So to leapfrog off of that, Alan, how have you guys been dealing with quarantine?
You mean Bradley?
Oh, you're still Bradley on the screen.
So Bradley, to leapfrog off of that, how have you guys been dealing with quarantine? Has it been a good experience, bad experience? Anything that you've been struggling with mentally, physically?
Interesting.
It's been interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I think like at first it was kind of refreshing to have like a break from everything and just like be able to be like super lazy and just like stay at home all day. But like at this point, I feel like we're all ready to get back out there and like be able to go to like beaches and like see our friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like, yeah, it started off that way, and then at some point, the laziness kept escalating and escalating, and now I'm like napping all the time, whereas before, I would not be napping throughout the day, and it sucks because like where my work station is, it's literally right next to my bed. Like my bed is right over here. No. And so every time I turn 90 degrees, I always get the temptation to kind of just lay down, watch some YouTube. And then after I watch a little bit of YouTube, I just knock out and I wake up like 3 hours later.
I've heard something about that. So I've heard that you shouldn't work in the same place that you sleep. And I don't know if that's something that's like new that they just figured out, but I'm hearing it for the first time now, like during quarantine, and my desk is right next to my bed. And so I've been struggling to like get work done in my room. I've been everywhere else in my house except my room and my desk.
I've actually had like a really bad habit since like senior year to study on my bed. But then it really started getting me, especially in college when I'd have to stay up later. And it's just like, wow, I really need a change of atmosphere. So then I'd force myself to go to like Geisel or something. And then, but yeah, I just miss having that, like the option to like go somewhere completely new and study there instead.
Yeah, because
agree
like
with you.
I used to go to, before quarantine, I used to go to a lot of cafes, a lot of like coffee houses just to go study because like I like the atmosphere. I like some white noise in the background, but then it's like it's really sad not being able to do that anymore. And yeah, now my desk is next to my bed, so it's like the temptation is always there.
Dang, I feel like I'm luckier than most because I moved back home once quarantine started, and like basically my brother and my older sister, they moved out of the house, so like I crept into their rooms. So now like I sleep in my room and then like I study in my brother's room. So it's like I managed to make that
That's
divide,
nice.
but I know not everyone has that. Like I know I'm lucky.
So what made you move back home during quarantine? Was it just a decision that you made off the cuff, or was it like your parents wanted you to come home, or
Oh, definitely.
did you get kicked out of the dorms, or?
Yeah, I was actually in the Marshall upper apartments, and then they like Kosla kept sending like the emails about how he wants everyone to go home, like
No one reads those.
if
No
you
one reads
can.
those.
Read them. I got scared. I was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? So yeah, they were saying, move back home if you can. So I was like, well, I'll save some money. I'll move back home. My parents will be happy. I'll get like good food because they know how to cook.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just feel really lucky about that.
It's
Yeah,
definitely nice to have someone to cook for you.
Yeah. Speaking of cooking, has
Yeah,
anyone been
speaking of
trying
that.
to cook their own meals now that they're stuck inside?
I heard everyone once quarantine started was making the infamous banana bread.
I made like 20 loaves.
I just made it.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh my
they've all
God.
been terrible.
20 loaves and still terrible? Your 21st
Yeah,
is
they're
going
all
to be
bad.
good.
They're all bad.
Oh man.
All that practice.
What else have you guys
That's
been
just for
cooking
nothing.
or trying to bake?
Definitely like healthy things. A lot of salads, pasta, shrimp,
Yeah.
chicken. Just kind of like bland stuff.
I feel like trying to keep like your diet balanced is definitely a big thing in quarantine. Like I always try to have like some sort of veggie or fruit throughout the day, and then like a little bit of carbs and some sort of protein.
Yeah, I feel
So,
like being
wait.
stuck inside for me, like it's made me more aware of that. And like I feel like an extra need to eat more vegetables now for some reason or
Yeah.
another, just being stuck in here.
Yeah.
And follow that food pyramid, right? Do we remember that from like elementary school education?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
How do you
One
guys
of our
actually follow that
newsletters?
food pyramid?
No,
My
not
mom
really.
No.
was very hard to
Do you?
follow.
No, I was just asking you guys because I
Maybe we
definitely
should.
can't.
Like I
We
feel
should
like as
try.
long as I have a little bit of each food group, then I feel pretty good. But like to like get the right portions too is just very difficult.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard.
Well, I think it's also hard because like if you have dietary restrictions, like how can you have dairy? It's just kind of like one of those things.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
intuitive eating.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of what quarantine has made me very creative because like towards the end of like 2 weeks when you start running out of foods, like the fresh foods, you're like, okay, what am I gonna make with this bag of frozen peas in the freezer? Like, like just like stuff like that. So I feel like it's good that, just exploring different options and like that type of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely like forced us to be more creative and experiment more. Like I took an Instant Pot from my family's place before quarantine,
I
and
want one of those.
I love it so much because literally
Oh.
like it's
All
the
the
laziest
Instagram
thing.
videos.
Yeah, it's like the laziest thing you can do. You just throw it all in, pressure it, and then it's done within like 20 minutes.
So lucky.
It's great. Like I guess the thing I made the most is like this Asian braised pork, rice, and bok choy. That's like
So
my
good.
go-to. It's so easy too, and it's just
That
like
sounds pretty healthy.
yeah.
Pass the recipe along.
Okay, so have any of you guys been trying to stick to like diets, like not diets like I'm restricting my calories, but diets like intermittent fasting or like vegetarianism or like veganism or paleo or anything like that? Have you guys been trying to stick to stuff like that, or
Oh, yeah. Time restricted feeding. Definitely been giving that a shot.
Okay.
I give myself like in a 6 to 8 hour window. Sometimes it goes to 8 because like I have classes and stuff. But I try, to like keep my eating within, from like 12 all the way to 8. And that's been working out all right for me so far. It took a little bit of getting used to, for sure, at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'd be
definitely.
like having cravings at night, for like potato chips or whatever.
Just the most random thing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So what Alan is talking about is intermittent fasting, and it's like kind of a new diet trend where you go. So say you eat your last meal at 8 o'clock at night, you would go 16 hours until the next day around like 2 p.m. until you ate again. And so there's this period of fasting, kind of like through the night and like into the beginning of the day. So you normally don't eat breakfast, and it's supposed to be really good for like your body composition and like longevity and your brain, and like just overall it's supposed to be good for you.
You know what's interesting?
So
the guy who figured out time restricted feeding, to my knowledge, he's at our school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
He's
Is he, like, a
he's a
professor?
circadian biologist. Yeah. And so he was measuring kind of like cyclically with certain, like, if you restricted feeding for like mice for however many hours, like comparatively to a mice that was allowed to eat just whenever, kind of like how we are when we like have cravings and stuff, just eating throughout the day, that they would gain a lot more weight if they were allowed to just eat freely. But if they ate the same kinds of foods just within an 8-hour period, they would not gain as much weight. And so he got like super popular for that. I think he's working at Salk right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
I know I've been doing intermittent fasting for a few years and I love it. It's like you said, Alan, it's one of those things where you have to really get used to it. And once you do, you kind of lose like the cravings to become like you don't eat breakfast really anymore. You might have a coffee when you wake up, but you just kind of like get up and at it, and you don't need to eat until like late afternoon. It's weird.
I think I've been like accidentally doing that.
Yeah, me too.
I sleep so much more now in quarantine, and like I sleep in till like, I don't know, 2 p.m., 3 p.m. So like I already skipped breakfast, and then I wait like a few hours after I wake up to actually eat. And so it's like kind of that, I guess.
You're not even trying.
yeah,
You're just getting all the benefits.
I just wake up, and then the thing is, all my lectures are pre-recorded, so I really just watch them whenever. It's really unorganized, but like I sleep at like 4, and then I wake up at like, but I do wake up at like 12 or like 11 or 12.
Not bad.
And then, but then I just go straight to my lectures, and then I wait a couple hours, and then that's when I eat. So I guess I'm doing it also.
I learned like a thing about breakfast the other day. It was like a lot of people say like, oh, like breakfast is like the most important meal of the day. Like you have to eat it or whatever, which is like kind of true, but there's no like real rule on when you need to have breakfast, because technically you're just breaking your fast from the night before. And so even if you ate breakfast at like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., that still technically counts. And like apparently the food that you eat for breakfast kind of determines like what you crave for the rest of the day. And so like if you think about that, that could be like something important to consider.
Yeah. When do you guys normally break fast, for those of you that are practicing intermittent fasting?
3?
Well, I will usually try to stop eating around like 10 at night or so. And I'll like wake up the next morning. I'll do my work because I like to work in the mornings. I like to have like a coffee, and I still have creamer and stuff, but I'll have my coffee and I'll work in the morning for a few hours, and then I'll go and work out or like go for a run or like lift some weights or something. And then I come back home, shower, and then I usually eat around like 4-ish, 3 or 4. But it's weird because I don't think about food that like the entire morning. Like I don't think about food until I'm done exercising. I'm like, now I'm hungry.
That's how I am. My first thing in the morning is like, I just want coffee. Like that's it. That's all I want. I don't think about food.
I'm having a coffee right now.
Yeah. So I get that.
I usually practice from like 1 to 7. I think I eat. I do like the 6 and 18. So like 1 through 7 I eat. And then I think I cheat or not cheating, like I remove temptation like of eating after 7 by like brushing my teeth and then
that's
putting
good.
in my
I do
retainer.
that too.
Do you guys have retainer?
Oh, yeah.
You just put it
I've
in,
been
you're
really
like,
bad about wearing mine.
see, no, if you
Smart.
put it in right after you brush your teeth, you're like, ah, man, like I am not gonna go eat because I do not want to take off my retainer, brush it. Too much work. See, my laziness is like, yes,
Smart.
intermittent
Smart.
fasting can work.
I feel like it's just hard, like for me, because right now I'm living with my boyfriend, and like whenever he eats, then like I see the food and I smell the food, and then I'm like, well, now I want to eat. So like, I don't know. I feel like that's my biggest struggle in terms of the intermittent fasting.
Does he ever pressure you? Like why aren't you eating?
No, I mean, it's like
That's good.
kind of just like the schedule.
Hey,
Okay.
maybe you should challenge
Very
him
cool.
to like intermittent fast with you. That could be cool.
Yeah, see if he likes it.
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking a lot about nutrition, but in terms of exercising, how have you guys been keeping up during the quarantine?
Oh yeah. Okay. So just a little bit of background. We kind of challenged each other to do an exercise. Well, what we did is we challenged each other about 3 weeks ago to get the exercises medicines 150 minutes of moderate to intense activity a week. And basically that kind of boils down to like 30 minutes, 5 days a week of exercise. And it doesn't really matter if that's running or HIIT or yoga or whatever it might be. But we challenged each other to kind of fulfill this guideline, and we each did a little bit different of like a workout plan. I did running. I think some other people did running, and so yeah, that's kind of background. How were your guys' experiences?
I mean, mine was pretty okay. Mine was HIIT, so I'd say like from my previous experiences, like HIIT was probably like the most convenient. I think like out of all the
Okay.
exercise training styles that I have done in the past, HIIT is definitely the most convenient. Like if you only have 20 minutes to do something, like you can do it like in the morning, you can do it on your lunch break, like whatever. It's super convenient. However, it gets boring very fast, at least in my opinion. Also, since it is sometimes like really high impact, like if you can't do the high impact, then you have to like find moves that are low impact. So it's kind of like sticking to those same moves if you can't do it. But yeah, that was at least my, I guess, like summary of my experience. But I mean, I liked it. It was something that I could fit into my schedule pretty easily. I would just do it in the morning. And then if I felt like doing another round or like another 20 minutes, I would just do it later in the day. Like when my body was feeling like it needed to move or something like that.
So did you like used to go to the gym a lot before this?
Yeah, so I did, well, coming to UCSD, I did women's rugby. So like I was in the gym like 7 days a week.
So you were really active before
Yeah,
quarantine.
super active. So I did women's rugby for 2 years. But I mean, I did a lot of weightlifting before then in high school too. But after I did women's rugby, I just continued to like do gym, regular strength training and conditioning. But then with quarantine, the gym is gone. So I've been kind of supplementing some moves like with resistance bands. So I've just been using a lot of resistance bands because I know that's what's kind of hard about HIIT. At least in my opinion, I haven't found like the most efficient way to do it with like dumbbells or like kettlebells. So I found like resistance bands will still like allow you to be, I guess, agile and still athletic while doing the move, but it won't be so like impounding on the move, if that makes sense. It will make it harder to do. Or like not harder, but like awkward to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
did you find resistance bands after you started doing the HIIT, or did you already have resistance bands, or is there somewhere that like our listeners should go to get resistance bands?
I had a few resistance bands because I had some left over from like my ACL injury, so I was just using those. Yeah, but I just basically found them online. I know you can just find pretty good ones, and honestly, like you can be fine with like just two. Like if you just get like one heavier one for your legs and then just like a lighter one for like anything else, like you're pretty much set. Yeah. And a jump rope. Jump rope's pretty good too.
What kind do you use, like specifically the brand for anyone who's curious?
So it was Gymshark. I used the ones that I have been
like
using were
Gymshark.
Gymshark ones.
Mm.
And I think it's like a medium one and like the heavy resistance one. But then I also have long bands, but like those I got from my uncle, so I didn't really buy them. I only bought the Gymshark
For
ones.
sure. If you're listening, Gymshark, sponsor.
I know,
I would love to be
Gotta put out a
sponsored.
sponsor.
I know that you can
Maybe one
get
day.
resistance bands on like Amazon, and then
Mhm.
like at least at the physical therapy clinic that I worked at over summer, we always had Thera Bands, so those were pretty reliable. They have like, I want to say 4 different colors, so 4 different resistances, and then you basically pick them based on like what activity you want to do and like how strong you are.
Nice.
I didn't have any access to Thera Bands. I mean, I did have Thera Bands in college, but then like I lost them somehow in the move from San Diego back to San Jose. So like I don't know. So I have to focus on like body weight because I also did HIIT just like Ashley. And HIIT, for those of you guys who don't know, we kind of talked about it in our newsletter, actually, our newsletter number 4. So if you guys are listening, you should definitely sign up for that. It's pretty informational. But yeah, we
sign up on our
talked.
Facebook.
Please do.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry.
We talked about HIIT, and then basically it's like short bursts of like intense exercise interspersed with like recovery periods. And so I actually like I've been doing that just like in my front room, and I think I bother my parents because it's like a lot of jumping. Like sometimes, like Ashley said, it can be high impact. So like I know it's not ideal to do indoors sometimes, especially because like, you know, lockdown and we're not supposed to really be outside. So there's like that struggle with HIIT, but then also like you can do like the modifications, which I try to do sometimes, but I don't have the Thera Bands, right? So like I feel like I'm losing like potential, I don't know, muscle mass, or I don't know. I feel like I'm not getting as much out of it as I should be, you know?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I kind of felt that too in a sense, like especially because like with HIIT, since it's such a short amount of time, like you get tired fast. So it's always like my last round, like my form would just like deteriorate. Like you're just trying to like,
You know it's
Yeah.
the last round, so you're
yeah,
just
you
trying
know
to,
it's the
you don't
last
even
round.
care.
You're just like,
You're
I'm
just
just
like,
like, oh,
I'll do like 5
exactly.
kitty push-ups. So do you guys feel like HIIT has been like net, would you recommend HIIT? Or would you try something else?
So I've done HIIT before this. And usually what like I had done is like instead of lifting every day, HIIT would kind of be just like something I do on my off day. So like I'd maybe go to the gym and do like strength and conditioning like 3 to 4 times a week, and then do HIIT like once during the week, and that would be like my active recovery. And it wouldn't even have to be like high impact movements. Like what I would do is do like the low impact modifications, but just maybe put a resistance band on them, just to kind of focus more on the movement, rather than maybe just trying to jump so high. Maybe just work on getting like a good squat, like a full complete movement. But yeah, that's kind of what I did. But I would definitely recommend it if, you know, you can't go to the gym or you're short on time. I think it's good. I would say the only downside of it though is like, obviously if you have had, you know, like prior knee injuries or just anything else, like the impact does take a toll. Like I found that out with my knee. But I mean, it was fine. Like I liked it, I guess, for like, well, the first half of it. And then the second half, I was kind of like, okay, we're doing this again. Great. You know, but I mean, as long as you just try and find different moves to do it, like you should be fine.
So do you guys use or did you use like some sort of online like video service or like a phone app, or like how did you like prop up the phone so you could watch the exercises and follow along? Because I always have trouble with that when I try. It like makes me feel like awkward and I just am unmotivated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's
That's
a
gutsy.
YouTuber that I like. Her name's Natasha Ocean. I love
I
her.
love her too. She's
Yes.
amazing.
She is amazing. Yeah, the HIIT queen. Yeah, so she makes workouts real easy. Like you just follow her and you can just like, it's there in like 5 swipes. You just like prop up your phone and then you can play Spotify on at the same time. Cause like here's the downside, like with using YouTube sometimes I feel it's because like when I watch workouts on my iPad, like I can't play my music. Like I want to listen to my workout playlist, not the YouTube's workout playlist. So like that's why I like hers because she posts on Instagram. So you can just kind of like mute the Instagram audio and then just have Spotify playing on in the background, which is what I liked. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'd recommend HIIT too. I like Ashley said, it does not take a lot of time, and especially since like midterms are like this week and next week for me. Like if I wake up in the morning and I know that I have like a whole day of lectures and a whole day of studying to do, I know that like I can just fit in like a 20-minute HIIT video, maybe like a 10-minute warm up and like a 5-minute cool down. And it's like really short and sweet. And I sweat so much. Like I know that like sweating is not necessarily an indicator of like, oh, you had a good workout if you sweat a lot. But like when I sweat that much and like I feel that exhausted, I'm like, that's gotta count for something.
It's got, yeah, that's a good feeling. You feel like you really worked hard.
It's rewarding.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys did a HIIT. I know that Alan and a few other people did this. Was it pyramid workouts?
Yeah. So
how was that different than HIIT?
So they're quite similar.
Background.
Yeah. So it's kind of a form. What I did was a form of circuit training, and so very similar to HIIT. You know, you're doing these exercises, and they get pretty intense. The only difference I would say is that whereas HIIT has specific periods of rest and recovery and then getting back into the exercise, with circuit training, you're kind of alternating between different muscle groups with not like minimal rest. So like, for example, you might be doing push-ups for one exercise, right? And then you'll let your arms rest while you'll be doing squats. And then you'll move on to jumping jacks or something like that. And so in terms of rest, it's also a very high intensity kind of short interval type of exercise. But I feel like for me personally, I didn't have as much time to rest. And so I would find myself getting like my heart rate up real quick and then getting pretty exhausted by the time like I'd finish one circuit or 1.5 circuits. Yeah, but you can also find the exact details of that workout in our newsletter.
So is this pyramid training, is it like you're going for time or you're going for numbers of like circuits or reps or like how did you do it yourself?
For me personally, the time I kind of left the timer passively there just so I could keep track of how much time I wanted to hit, because for sure I wanted to do at least, half an hour, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, which is the minimal amount of exercise to hit about 150 minutes a week. But oftentimes I would find myself kind of going either above or below that timer. So time wasn't the most important aspect of it to me. For me, I focused on how many circuits I could get through and whether or not I could improve it like as the weeks went by.
So kind of like challenging yourself to do better.
Yeah, exactly. To see if like, oh, I did 1.5 and my heart rate was like going crazy this week, but could I do the same and maybe get to 2 full circuits and still be like pretty calm the next week or something like that.
So how did you like the body weight circuits compared to like exercises you may have done before?
Yeah, so kind of like what you guys brought up with HIIT, it's kind of quick to do, right? Because you can kind of concisely just put it into like 30 minutes or 15 minutes of really intense exercise or however it may be. And so in terms of saving time, like whereas before in the gym, I'd probably be there for like, 45 to an hour, maybe more. It was a lot quicker. So it really helped if I had something else to do. So you brought up the issue of midterms, which I totally encountered this week as well. So I would have to like slip in like maybe a circuit right before I went to shower or something, and then just get right back into studying for midterms. And I'm able to do that because like it's so short and sweet and simple. Whereas like if I were going to the gym, I'd probably be there for much longer.
Oh yeah, it's a whole process because you have to get dressed, you have to get in the car, you have to drive to the gym, you have to get out of the car, go in the gym, like check in.
Yeah.
And then you do like an hour workout and then you gotta come back. Or yeah, if you're at REMAC, you have to like walk to Remac and then
Mhm.
do that whole deal. So
Yeah.
do you feel like it's equivalent to working out in the gym? Like, do you feel like you're like challenging yourself just as hard, or do you feel like you're definitely lacking like the weights and the?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I kind of miss the weights, right? Because with my circuits, it's all kind of body weight, kind of manipulating my body weight to do squats and push-ups and stuff. But I kind of miss the feeling of, like putting like a plate on and like just fully squatting and going in for it. Or, like whether it be like dumbbells or something like that. So I do miss the weights for sure. And I feel like, in terms of how much I can lift now, I've probably gotten a little bit weaker. Like, I don't think I can bench the same as before the quarantine, for sure. But
every day.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, oh, where did it go?
No,
it's rough.
Yeah, no. So
sure.
I do miss it for sure. But it's not that I don't feel healthy, because I do feel really healthy. I'm actually probably doing more cardio now than I did back when we were still in the gym.
Oh yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
my heart
cardio
rate's
I
racing.
feel like is taking over everybody's workouts.
Yeah. I never did cardio before quarantine.
Neither did I.
And then
Did anybody else do pyramid? Sorry.
Oh, me also. Actually, it was kind of the reverse for me, because I was never, okay, the only reason why I started getting into like, I guess like body weight exercises and even going to the gym is because like after I got surgery for like my ACL, that's when I started going. But other than that, I just like play basketball, and that's kind of been my method of like staying active. And so actually this quarantine, it was really challenging for me to commit to like a body circuit, because like whenever I wanted to go do something, I just play basketball. And so I got really sore.
So
really
like you weren't used to any of these like body weight exercises or anything like that. This was all like kind of new to you, or
just for like my legs, or like literally just like it's like leg day all the time, just because I wanted to rub my leg. So that's why I'd go to the gym. But like push-ups I hate.
Yeah.
Those are hard. Yeah, that was the most challenging thing for me, but I'm glad I did it because I feel stronger, a little better. So yeah.
Would you recommend it? Are you gonna keep doing it, or are you gonna switch it up?
Yeah, I will. Like what I've been doing is kind of like I like to practice dribbling, so I would prioritize that before like doing the circuit. And I think that kind of tired me out more, but I mean, I like how I incorporated something I really love doing along with like just strengthening my whole body. So I recommend it. Just like make it fun for yourself.
Yeah, kind of make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it interesting. Do you think that kept you motivated, that you were able to like work in like dribbling and basketball?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Did anybody else do pyramid? All right, so the last and final group was running, and I know that Rami and I did it. Heather, did you run too?
Yeah, I tried.
Convincing. So we were the running group.
Yay.
And what were your guys' experiences like?
Mine, I kind of cheated because I got injured. So I never ran before quarantine, like ever. Like the last time I ran I checked my Fitbit was back in November, and it's like April or May right now. So I was like, dang, I can't run. So I think I was doing pretty good. I felt great because running is a new thing for me. And I wanted to challenge myself and see how I can improve my cardio, because before I would just lift all the time. Like every time I'm in the gym, it has weight. So it was different.
I was in the same boat.
Yeah. And then about 4 or 5 days in, I messed up my foot. I got plantar fasciitis. So my foot was always sore, even when I just stand up. So I decided to like take a break from running or stop running entirely. And I tried to supplement that by doing a different type of cardio inside instead. So I basically did a full body circuit every day and mainly aimed for reps just to work up that cardio. I can say that I feel like I definitely lost some strength if I was gonna like pick up some barbell. But my cardio got better. I realized I can do much more like body weight squats or like kettlebell squats a lot more than before, just with the repetition of it.
So what did you transition to when you stopped the running? Did you do like, you said circuits, did you like do specific videos, or did you just kind of do your own workouts?
No, before I would watch a lot of Jeff Nippard or Omar Isuf on YouTube. Like there are these
okay,
powerlifting YouTubers basically, and they did videos on like home workouts, so I kind of did variations of that. Basically every day is just a different body part, and I'll just try to find, I'll just Google myself sometimes, but I didn't really follow a strict workout routine.
Just kind of trying to stay active, whatever way.
Yeah, just kind of piece it all together. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And Heather, you kind of were apprehensive about the whole running thing. Did you have a bad experience with it, or?
So before quarantine started, like I would usually just go run in like the gym on a treadmill for like 10 minutes and then do some ab workout. But I don't know, I'm just like not very accustomed to running outside. For some reason, it's like a lot harder for me than treadmill running. And like if the weather was ever like bad or like super hot or something, I'd just be like, oh, like I don't want to go today. Like
I'll go tomorrow.
A lot of
do
work.
you think it's different because like it's just harder running on concrete, like it's harder on your knees or your feet or something than it is on a treadmill? Or
I'm not sure. Like I think maybe a part of me just like has some PTSD from like having to run in like PE from middle school and high school, and like we'd always run outside, so I guess I don't know, maybe I have a mental block.
Okay.
For running on treadmills, so it's been hard like adjusting to running outside, but I like try to stick to like ab workouts inside if I can.
So you're still getting that movement in?
Yes.
That activity. Very cool.
How was your running, Brad?
Oh, thank you for asking. My running was pretty good. I started off, well, I mean, I'll give you some background. I played football in high school, so I'm not like a stranger to running, but I did suffer like a really bad knee injury in high school, and I kind of just stopped running after that. Like I was always that person that was like, oh, I don't run. I would go to the gym, I would lift weights, I would sometimes squat. Like it was kind of like an impairing injury, and it still kind of is. But running really challenged me to kind of like face that and overcome that. And I've been taking a lot of leave because my knee hurts a lot. But I have been trying to run, and I've been trying to I started off doing about like 2 or 3 miles, and I was pretty slow, like 9-minute miles, 10-minute miles. I was just like really just dogging it, and it was hard. But I've been doing it for about 3 weeks now, and I've worked up to about 5 miles. I have like a really good circuit that I'll go one way one day and the other way another day. And I've like shaved down my mile time by a lot actually. But you know, the knee pain is still there. It's just something that I'm kind of trying to like keep track of, and I'm trying to listen to my body. So if it's really bad one day, then I just won't run. I'll do something else. I'll lift some weights, or I'll just do like some push-ups and some ab work. But other than that, yeah, running it's been all right. I'm definitely more open to it as like a future form of exercise now that I've been like doing it for a while.
Yeah, I can say that too. I would want to keep up running, even though once my foot gets better, yeah, I want to do it again. I had a question though. Like, do you listen to music, or do you listen to like audiobooks when you go out to run?
So I'll plug another podcast that I love, and I listen to it every time I go for a run. It's called Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, and it's one of the most like stimulating podcasts you will ever listen to, and it's just really good. They have like so many interesting people, like celebrities, actors, doctors, anybody you could think of, and they just chat and talk, and it's just great. And so they're like 2 hours long or so I'll listen to one episode like throughout the week. Like I'll go for a run 30 minutes, and like I'll listen to like a portion of it, and then just kind of finish it throughout the week.
Wait, that's so crazy. I thought like everyone who exercised had to listen to like fast, hardcore, like EDM music.
I started with that. I started with that, and I just wasn't like vibing with it. It just wasn't. I don't know, like there's something about the pace that I was running at and like the pace of the music, and it just wasn't working for me. It felt like dissonant or something. And I figured like I should use the time to like learn something, you know, because I'm like, I might as well, because like I'm putting sound in my ears, like I might as well learn something while I'm doing it. So I started actually initially I was listening to this podcast, and if anybody out there is a pre-medical student or like interested in healthcare, it's called the Pre-Med Years, and it has like a ton of great information. Yeah, it's a ton of great information about like the MCAT and like the med school application cycle. I would definitely recommend it. And so I started listening to that one, and then my girlfriend actually got me onto this Armchair Expert one, and I've been like hooked ever since. So it's been pretty interesting.
I know, because I was a runner in high school. I did cross country and track. Yeah, so I know I've had a few running shoes, let's say that. But I know we never were allowed to run with music.
Okay.
Which at first, coming onto the team, I was kind of like, ugh, like how am I supposed to run? Like what the heck? Like how do you not listen to music?
Yeah.
But you know, it was something that I think definitely helps you like internalize like your thinking, like while you're exercising. Like you build such a strong mentality, you know, like just like running by yourself. And I think it's just something now in quarantine, because I have been out for a few runs, just like easy, like not even worried about my pace. It's just kind of nice to like unplug from everything, which sounds really cliche, but I feel like, you know, spending so much time like just looking at the computer screen and like on my phone sometimes, like as my break in between Zoom classes and stuff like that, it's kind of nice to just not like have something glaring back at me, like in terms of like blue light or anything like that.
Completely agree. Yeah.
Just nice to like, well, especially because like there's no traffic right now, so it's just like kind of quiet, you know, but like
yeah,
just
it's
hear, like, your
quiet.
feet. Yeah, it's
Not
kind
too
of
many
nice.
people.
Yeah.
I definitely use running as kind of a way to like break up my day. So like, you know, I do a lot of work in the morning, and then like after however many hours, I'm like, I'm so tired of staring at this computer screen. I need to go and move and do something. And so it's nice to just go outside and just kind of run and unplug.
Yeah, that's how I kind of use it. Like even for like 10-15 minutes, I just used it to like break up my day, because it seems like so long to just be like sitting here for like such long periods of time, you know, like staring at the computer.
I think in general, this just kind of like all the exercise, was it kind of like stress relieving for everybody? Was it like, it like kept you kind of like mentally sane? Because I know it definitely like helped keep me a little bit mentally sane.
Yeah. Speaking of mentally sane, I had a question for you guys. How do you guys practice self-care in quarantine? So like whether it be like things you do to like stay relaxed, but like how do you keep yourself mentally sane, like aside from exercise?
Aside from exercise.
I mean, I just think doing stuff that doesn't revolve around like schoolwork, I guess, stuff that like pertains to me. Like for our newsletter, I have a lot of fun editing it just because it's something that like stimulates my creative side.
No,
so
shout out to Ashley. She edits all of the newsletters. She's up till like 2 just looking over and editing everything that we write. So
if you ever send us a suggestion, she's the one who sees it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but those have been really fun. Like just anything that's kind of like creatively I guess stimulating. And also like podcasts help. I don't know, like just podcasts, just like listening to, I guess, conversations, because like, you know, you can't always like FaceTime your friends, but like just having people talk in the background is kind of nice, I guess. Sometimes kind of like mimics like a coffee shop thing. I know like Ronnie was saying, like that atmosphere. I know I like sitting in coffee shops a lot just because it has like that feeling of like accountability, like, oh, someone's watching, I better look like I'm working, you know, something like that.
Kind of like that socialization factor is
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, just like simple stuff. Or even I know I've noticed myself like actually standing like outside of my patio, like watching the sunset. Like that sounds really cliche too, but it's kind of nice to because we have really nice sunsets in San
I do
Diego.
the same thing.
Mhm.
They're
I do the
like
same thing.
so nice.
Like
It's been
peeking out
really
my
nice.
window right now to see if
Yeah,
like I
just,
missed
Yeah.
it.
just walk outside, like stare
We
at the
can
sky
all watch
for a
the
few
same
minutes.
sun.
Like I'm mad at you guys right now because you made me miss. I'm just kidding. But no, yeah, that's been kind of nice, and just to like even take 5 minutes to just like have a breath after like having like 3 Zoom classes in a row. Sometimes it's kind of nice to just like sit and just watch, you know, something other than your professor's face staring back at you.
Definitely.
Ooh, something I do, like if I have a really early class and then like just a gap of time, I'll take like a nap. Just like a quick short nap before I have to get to the next class. And that just kind of gives me like a mental refreshment. So like I can, you know, actually focus and keep staring at the computer for like another hour and a half or whatever it might be, just breaking it up like that.
It's like you're charging.
The power nap.
Yeah.
So do you guys miss classes like in person? Do you miss like on campus stuff, or do you like the online format? Like, are you enjoying quarantine or?
I want to
I
go back
miss
to
it.
school.
Pros and cons, right?
Pros and cons for sure.
Like,
cons.
I
Since
just hope that
everything
next quarter is not all online again, because
Yeah.
I'm going to go insane.
Oh yeah, they said it'll be a mix, right? Like some
As of right
form
now,
of
I
in person. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I feel like they should hold the teachers to the same standards that they're holding us when it comes to online stuff, because a lot of these teachers don't really know how to use Canvas or how to post podcasts or like how to run an online class. And a lot of us are used to using Canvas and maybe have taken an online class before, but when the teacher doesn't know how to do it, it makes it hard for everybody.
Yeah.
And it makes it hard to follow along. It makes it hard to like stay on top of your homework and assignments and things. So I'm definitely looking forward to being on campus. I like being on campus, and it definitely keeps me like engaged, because when I'm at home, I just, anything else like is happening and I'm over there.
Yeah.
And it'll just play.
Yeah, I miss being on campus because like I would get my, my steps in on my,
oh yeah,
what is it? The health app or something? Yeah. Like I would love seeing those steps go up throughout like a day at UCSD. I would be like, huffing and puffing to like Galbraith and then
because
ERC.
the campus is just huge.
Exactly. And I would get these steps, and then now like, I mean, now that I'm at home, I don't have like pets to take on walks. So I take myself on walks. I just go around the neighborhood, and then like the steps that I see in my health app, it's just so small compared to what it used to be. And I'm like,
it's like to the fridge and back to the bedroom.
Literally, it hurts. Like, and you know how like I think there's a feature on it that like compares your like this month's steps to like last month's steps, and I'm like,
you walked 99% less this month.
I know, and I'm like, I need it to stop.
I have an Apple Watch that I like wear when I run, and it's been doing the same exact thing to me. Like, like you haven't worked out yet today. Like, it really holds me responsible, which is great, but like at the same time, I hate it.
No, my Fitbit like beeps like all the time. They're like, you've only had like 2 active hours today. I'm like, I know that.
My Fitbit's set to my Fitbit's set to like, if you didn't take steps in like take 250 steps in the hour, and then it's gonna vibrate and remind you. And like every hour it freaking vibrates, and I feel so guilty.
Like when you're at school, right? Like your Fitbit's all like this, and like and you get the little disco ball because you reach your step goal. Like I reach my step goal like every day when we had like classes. But yeah,
I miss that.
Now Fitbit is sad.
I probably get like 400 steps, if even, a day now.
Yeah, I know. It sucks.
So
like
overall, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's why it's all the more important to like try to take time out of your day to like do a workout, like HIIT or like the body weight or go on a run, because like, dang, these steps really be calling us out.
Yeah.
I feel like, if we get our heart pumping some other way, it's still like, it's not exactly the same as like walking around on campus, but like
It's
a step.
significant energy expenditure though, because like I noticed like my calorie difference, like definitely from like last quarter to this quarter, like the energy expenditure is like pretty significant just because like I'm not walking as much, you know? So I'm like, darn, but that's okay.
Mhm.
So to piggyback off of that, have you been eating less? Like, have you been changing up your diet because you feel like you're working out less, or are you being
So
less active?
I've been, going back to the intermittent fasting thing, I've been kind of doing that. Like I said, like I'll just have like a coffee in the morning. And then I basically don't really think about eating until like 2 or 3. That's just because I don't know, I'm like busy with classes and I'll do my work in the morning. So like my mind isn't like super focused on eating at that point. And then usually I'll like break fast around 3. But I think the main thing that I've been trying to do now is like control portion sizes, especially because I'm not like lifting heavy. Like I have just been doing like body weight intervals. So it's just been kind of like just making sure that I'm not eating, I guess, too much or like trying to eat till I'm like full. Because I don't really, I mean, I haven't been, my energy expenditure is like not where it was, last
Oh
quarter.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's just definitely for me, it's been kind of like looking at portion sizes, just making sure that, I'm at least eating like 3 meals a day to kind of keep that like routine going. But just, I mean, I'm not significantly like reducing my calorie intake either, just making sure that I'm like controlling myself, trying not to like binge when I'm bored. That's been
Yeah,
the biggest
just
thing.
being a little bit more conscious of like
Yeah,
when you eat.
yeah. Just
I've
not being
definitely
like,
had trouble with like, I'm bored, I'm gonna go eat something.
yeah,
Or like I have nothing else to do, I might as well just go eat. Or like I want some satisfaction, I'm gonna go eat something.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
definitely a change. It's definitely a change.
Yeah, I've always had like I was doing like a thing where I was like, okay, if I eat a snack now, like after like let's say like 11 o'clock, because like sometimes I'll study till like 1 or 2. Like if I eat a snack now, I'll have to do 10 push-ups after I finish the snack. No one wants to do 10 push-ups at
Like
midnight. I
holding
mean, that's
yourself
just me,
accountable.
but like that's how I'm like, oh no, I don't want to. Never mind. I'll wait
It's
till
not
2.
worth it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how I've been kind of dealing with it, but
Okay, so one like kind of final last question, or not final, but one big question. How's everyone been staying motivated to be moving? Like, what is keeping you motivated? Is it, I need to move so I can eat that sandwich later? Or is it like, I need to move for myself or like my mental health? Or like, what's the reason why you get out the door and start running, or like start doing, or like throw on the HIIT video and start doing a workout?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Brad. EIM has this really great newsletter that they come out with, every week.
Oh, that's what keeps you motivated?
Oh yeah, it keeps me motivated. There's something new and refreshing every week. There's a different athlete that's covered, and it's all very interesting. So every week I look forward to getting that newsletter and trying out a different
Professionally done
exercise.
too, right?
I know, it's so pretty.
So professional.
Wait, yeah, actually, so after I think our week 4 newsletter where we talked about HIIT, as like the exercise of the week, my dad actually saw that newsletter because he signed up for it, big fan and everything.
Yes.
And he was like, yeah, he was like, what is this? Like we used to call them this like fartlets or something. I don't know if you guys have ever,
I've heard that
something
term.
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and then he was like, oh, so like what's HIIT? And I was like, well, like let's try it out. So like I actually had him do the workout with me one day, and like
that's awesome.
just doing it with like someone else, like I felt like, I don't know, it kept me accountable because I was like, oh, if I have to teach him, then I should like be doing it in proper form and I should be, using all my energy. So like I know not everyone like has like the opportunity to like work out with someone like I did with my dad. But like if you do have the opportunity, definitely try that out. Like I think that helped so much. And then if you don't have the opportunity to work out like in person with someone else, I know a lot of people have been doing like you like you do it through Zoom, you like, and then you like share the screen of like, I don't know, some video, and then everyone does it together. And I feel like that works. So like holding each other accountable, I feel is a really good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, like these last 3 weeks is kind of hard because it's just like midterms and midterms and midterms. So I think one of the things that actually helped me be accountable is like going back to what Catherine said, like I knew all of y'all were like working out too. So I was like, "Ugh, if they're doing it, then I have to do it." So like that was another
Challenge your
thing.
friends. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I know there are definitely some workouts that I missed just because of midterms and school and work and
Mhm.
and everything is like kind of extra stressful right now because there's this whole like kind of existential coronavirus thing going on.
Yeah.
And so I know that stresses a lot of people out. It definitely stresses me out, and like my girlfriend is definitely stressed about it. But you know, at the end of the day, exercise is just kind of one of those things that allows me to like, I think we kind of talked about this a lot, but like reset. And like I'm a very high energy person normally. Like I'm like my leg is always shaking and
Mhm.
stuff. Like I'm one of those people, and if I don't exercise, then I just don't feel good. And so for me, that was kind of the driving factor.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like what Alexia said. And I think that's one of the things I remember from like our very first podcast where she was like, I asked her, I was like, well, what's one thing that you wish everyone knew about exercise? And she was like, the way that it makes you feel. And I think that's so true.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
it just has like, you don't, I mean, you can feel bad that like, oh, I didn't meet a goal during this workout, but like you still went, you still did something, you know, like you always feel like some sort of satisfaction at the end of it, you know?
Yeah. Something is better than nothing.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Any day of the week, any type
Exactly.
of exercise, any type of activity. If it's a walk, if you're just walking to like Vons or something, because I know a
Mhm.
lot of people use Vons. If you're just walking to Vons, like that's activity, that's exercise, and
Mhm.
that contributes to your health and your well-being. So
Yeah, gets the endorphins flowing,
Mhm.
and you don't even have to do morphine.
On the way back.
exactly, yeah. So is one last question. This will be the final question. Is everybody enjoying quarantine? Just like down to it. Like, is everyone enjoying it, or like
Well,
have
yes.
you started new hobbies, or like have you?
It's been a good thing and a bad thing in my opinion, because
Yeah.
it feels nice to be home, but then it doesn't feel that nice to be home all the time. You know, I miss being outside, but given that we're inside, I get to like, yeah, pick up new hobbies. I've been cooking a lot more, which is my escape from like school. I got to play video games. I could catch up on video games and stuff that I've been like lagging on and stuff like that. So it's been a good thing and a bad thing, but it also forced me to be more focused on my health and like exercise and just overall wellness, because like I'm just in one space all the time. So it feels kind of guilty not doing anything physically active. So I just try to push myself to like do it basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I really miss like the separation between like school and home. I just like finishing everything that I have to do like at school, like go to work and then like go to the library and study and then like come home and like only study if I like really need to, you know, like for like midterms or finals on my own. But like I do miss the separation a lot. Especially
Yeah.
because like Alan was saying, like my bed's like right there. Like I can just turn around and like plop down on there. So yeah. But I mean it's quarantine has been a good thing. I feel like I do have a bit more time because like I don't have to wake up as early. I can kind of sleep in a little bit, which has been nice. I feel like I have been catching up on some Z's since last quarter, so
That's important.
that's a pro, definitely.
Anybody else?
I mean, yeah, I agree with everything everyone else has said. Yeah, there's like, I mean, there's goods and bads to everything, right? Like even during the school year, like sometimes it got really hard to just manage going to lecture and discussion and keeping up with like studying for midterms and exercising outside of that. And now I feel like for sure, you know, we have a lot more free time to kind of organize our day as we please and catch up on sleep, right? So, I mean, I do miss just being able to go outside and hang out with friends and stuff that I haven't seen in a while. But I mean, the quarantine's not all bad, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So we're definitely missing out on that social interaction and the ability to like go and get food at a restaurant and see your friends and go to the
No
bar or
sun
whatever it
though.
is that you do. And so there's definitely this separation between like I want to go and do these things, but I'm kind of stuck inside. I'm stuck in my room. I'm stuck next to my bed doing my homework. And it definitely affects, I think, everybody's mental health on some level, even if you're not aware of it. And And so I think being conscious of your movement and your activity is really an easy way, if anything, to stay on top of that and to kind of reduce that anxiety and stay healthy mentally and physically.
Yeah.
It's kind of the long story short of what our mission is here at EIM.
So I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's a good place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you to anyone who tuned in or is watching later to hear us kind of just ramble on about how we've been coping with the quarantine. Be sure to check out our Facebook, eim.ucsd. Sign up for our newsletters. Check out our previous podcasts on the channel. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and keep a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Frame everything in a positive way and everything will feel positive.
All right.
All right, thank you everybody for listening.
All right, see ya.